Discovering who we are is a primary preoccupation of early adulthood. Life review, the affirmation of what our lives have meant, is a critical task of old age. In between is a journey in which our self-understanding grows insight by insight, day by day. Donald Mass. 1. Introduction to the 6 Archetypal Life Arcs. Archetypal stories are stories that transcend themselves. This is because archetypes speak to something larger. They are archetypal exactly because they are too large. They are larger than life. They are impossible, but ring with probability. They utilize a seeming representation of the finite as a mirror through which to glimpse infinitude. Despite their almost numinous quality, archetypes are a very real force in our practical world. Think of it this way. All the things we imagine actually exist. Aliens, vampires, dragons, fairies. All our memories of reality also exist in real time in the same way, regardless whether these things can be proven as corporeal. They still exist within the human experience and impact it. The deeper the shared belief, the deeper and more meaningful the archetype becomes. Stories are one of our most powerful modes of exploring archetypes. This is true in the very nature of story itself, and more specifically in the patterns of plot and character arc structure that are revealed in the studies of story theory, which I've discussed in detail in my books Structuring Your Novel and Creating Character Arcs. Archetypes also show up in a legion of increasingly smaller ways, from genres to iconic character types to symbolic imagery. For a writer, one of the most exciting explorations of archetype can be found within specific character arcs, or journeys. These arcs have defined our literature throughout history, and they can be consciously used by any writer to strengthen plot, identify themes, explore life, and resonate with readers. The 6 Archetypal Character Arcs of the Human Life. We already recognize that the arc of a story can be found reflected in smaller pieces of the whole. We see it on the level of scene structure, in which each scene creates a mini-story arc, complete with inciting event and climax. We also certainly see it within the structure and arc of each individual act within an overall story. Indeed, each structural section, chapter, and beat ideally reflects this pattern. We can also see this pattern projected out from story structure itself onto a larger domain. First, we may see the arc reflected from within a larger series, anything from the obvious 3 acts of a trilogy to a much longer series. But also, eventually, we can see it in life itself. We will begin this book by exploring the 6 primary positive change character arcs of the life cycle. They are 1. The Maiden, 2. The Hero, 3. The Queen, 4. The King, 5. The Crone, 6. The Mage. These archetypes are not random, but sequential, marking out what we might see as the 3 acts of the human life. If we think of the average human life as lasting 90 years, then we can also think of that life in terms of 3 acts, made up of roughly 30 years each. The first act, or the first 30 years, is represented by the youthful arcs of the Maiden and the Hero, and can be thought of thematically as a time of individuation. The second act, roughly years 30 to 60, is represented by the mature arcs of the Queen and the King, and can be thought of thematically as a time of integration. The third act, roughly years 60 to 90, is represented by the elder arcs of the Crone and the Mage, and can be thought of thematically as a time of transcendence.